A while back, I did a video titled 3 Facts About Brass Knuckles. Well, this video is part 2. We're going to be talking about 3 myths about brass knuckles. Stick around. You know, the last video I did on this subject was a blast. Comments came rolling in, and it was really cool to hear all the different perspectives. And the cool thing about a comment section is it shows you what people believe. So in other words, my basis for this video comes from the many different opinions of other people. Now, there are more myths about brass knuckles that I'm going to cover in this video, but in this one, I want to cover the 3 biggest, in my opinion. Something I'm going to do in this video, other than talk about 3 myths, is I'm also going to put on display some options. The sponsor of this video is brassknuckles.co.uk. When it comes to these types of videos, I don't want to come on here and sell brass knuckles. I would rather talk about the subject and offer some educational content. And as a disclaimer, I'm not a paid affiliate of this organization. I don't get a commission on the sale of these. I'm not even really trying to sell you. I'm just going to put them in front of you because it's some good looking stuff. Myth number 1, and probably the most popular of all: brass knuckles are illegal. No, they're not. They're not illegal everywhere. They're illegal in some places, but they're not illegal everywhere. It's up to every individual to do their own due diligence to find out what the laws of their state or territory are. Saying that brass knuckles are illegal is a blanket statement, and it is a myth. There are some places where you can legally carry brass knuckles. You may say, what about steel? What about alloy? Listen, for the most part, when you start looking up laws on knuckles, it's usually going to refer to metal knuckles. So I'm not going to throw out a blanket statement, but for the most part, the laws that apply to brass would apply to steel. But the game does change a little bit when we start talking about plastic, but I've already covered that in other videos. I won't do it in this one. Where do I get my information with regards to this being the biggest myth? The comments. There were more comments devoted to saying that these were completely illegal and they would get you locked up. Getting locked up is all about context. I say this in all of my videos. Anytime you defend yourself with anything, if you don't have a good reason to do it, you're probably looking at some jail time. But the truth is, these are legal in certain areas. I say that again, and to say that they are completely and totally illegal is a myth. Now, this first set I want to put on display is probably my favorite of all that they sent me. Sometimes we save the best for last, but I want to go with my favorite ones first. These are their Storm Knuckles. These are so incredibly comfortable in the hand. They're made from 304 stainless steel. You can see how thick these things are. They're very weighted. You know, these are going to be good for you if you have a large glove size and down. I have a large glove size, and these just feel so good in my hands. They feel, out of all the brass knuckles I've ever held in my life, these feel the most comfortable. And the way they sit, they just sit perfect in the hand. I don't wear my knuckles way up here like this because upon collision, it bangs against the top of my fingers. I wear my knuckles right here perfect. I can do everything I need to perfectly, just like this right here. And these Storms are amazing, super comfortable. I put these on, I said, these are a game changer. These are better than anything I've ever tried on. Now, these next ones are called their Big Finger Hole Knuckles. Looks like more of the standard brass knuckle style, but this is for those who got those big old gigantic sausage fingers. I mean, you can see how much room is left in this one. I mean, like, if you got a massive paw, you're going to be able to fit these very well. You know, they feel pretty comfortable in the hand, nowhere near as comfortable as the Storms I just held. But if you're looking for something more light, something that's a lot lighter than these first ones that we talked about, if you got big, thick fingers, these might be for you. But these are their Big Finger Hole Knuckles made of zinc alloy. Myth number 2 is that only cowards would use brass knuckles. This was also said a lot in the comment section, and it's a very unfair statement. Now, there is some truth to this. If you've got 2 people just deciding they're going to go toe-to-toe and they're evenly matched up, and one decides to pull out a pair of knucks and crack his opponent when he really didn't need to, yeah, that could be labeled as cowardly. But since when was a street fight supposed to be fair? I can tell you, for me personally, if I fight you in the street, it's because you gave me no other option. But if you've got somebody out here trying to protect themselves from a much more sizable or formidable opponent, how is it cowardly to pull out an equalizer? It's not cowardly to pull out a firearm when your life is in danger. The things I cover on this channel are all about equalization. It's not about going out here and being a menace to other people and having foul intent. This is always the context of equalization. I'm not on here talking about toe-to-toe battles where you're having beef with this dude and then you pull out a pair of knuckles and you bust him over the head with it. So to say brass knuckles are for cowards, that is a myth. No, brass knuckles should be an option for people who need to equalize when they are facing a much greater threat than their natural capabilities can deal with. Yes, there may be times where it's cowardly to use knuckles, but we can't say that as a blanket statement. I don't even support getting out here and getting in senseless street fights. Why in the world would I support adding brass knuckles to that same situation? I just wouldn't do it. Now we've got us a single knuckle. This is a solid stainless steel single knuckle. It comes with this lanyard. You know, a lot of people will keep these things in their pocket, and not just a brass knuckle, but it's kind of like a whipping type of weapon as well. But this is their single knuckle right here. You can put it on either one, whatever you want to do this with. But nevertheless, a lot of people love these singles, and this is a very solid piece of hardware. Next, let's take a look at this two-finger knuckle system. These are also very light and compact and made of zinc alloy, but I want you to get a look at those. These are thin, very, very sharp. Also, too, these got some pretty good sized finger rings. If you've got big old thick kielbasa fingers, you probably are going to be okay going in here, you know, however you choose to hold this. But it's got a good bracing system here. Feels very solid in the hand, very sharp looking. Also comes with this paracord lanyard as well. And when they first contacted me, this one right here in this little sheath is the one that intrigued me the most. And it's a single knuck system, but it also comes with this hammer strike spike here. This thing is bad to the bone. I've seen designs like this, but never in the brass knuckles world, or steel knuckles, whatever you want to call them. But look at that. You may want to take this off. I'm the kind of guy that takes this kind of stuff off, but extremely comfortable. You can get your fist nice and tight around that. And I will tell you, this again fits my large glove size. If you've got an XL, double XL, you may struggle with this ring a little bit. This might be a little small if you got real giant hands, but it feels perfect with my large. And it's just really solid stuff. And again, it comes with this belt sheath. Last but not least, this is the critical strike. These are also super comfortable and ergonomic in the hand. Perfect fit right into this position. Just feels like there's full, complete, and total support. Almost feels like a part of you. And these spikes, man, I'm telling you, again, I know this stuff is heavily regulated. I won't speak to all of that. I'm just going to speak to the design. But if you got big fingers, you'll like this one as well, because there's still a lot of room there, as you can see. So if you got XL, double XL, you'll be good to go. But even if you just got a large or a medium, you're still going to be able to maintain these really well. 304 stainless steel, I do believe, just as the Storms were, and very solid and very thick. Myth number 3, brass knuckles will only work against an unarmed opponent. Not true. People left and right have been saying brass knuckles won't stand up against a gun. Everybody says that about a gun. They say that about knives too. That knife won't work against a gun. Do you realize that a great majority of people out here carrying around firearms are not really proficient with those firearms? Have you ever done a lot of shooting? A firearm is not some easy thing to manage, especially when your fine motor skills are all jacked up because of adrenaline and you're relying on gross motor skills. This is the importance of training. But a lot of people who talk about being Doc Holliday with their firearm are not proficient themselves. Having a firearm and knowing how to use it under distress is two different things. Most people have no idea how fast somebody with a weapon in their hand can get to them. Look, my friend, I believe that firearms are the ultimate king self-defense item as long as you know how to use them. But I don't think that they win in every situation. In fact, I know they don't win in every situation. They don't always beat a knife. They don't always beat knuckles. They don't always beat a club. It just depends on the situation. A lot of times if you can get proper distance, it probably will. But to say that it always works that way is pure ignorance, and it is a myth. The best path we can all take when it comes to these kinds of topics is humility, because all of us, no matter what our experience with violence is, it's still limited. None of us has experienced the entire spectrum of violence. None of us has it all figured out. I'd like to end this video with a question. Are there other myths that I may not have covered about brass knuckles that you feel passionate about? What myths exist in this topic? Because I only covered 3, but there is more, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on these as well. As always, thank you so much for watching, and take care.